I'm going to look up a Supreme Court case for my Communication Law and Society class. So from the UTEP homepage, I'm going to go to the Articles and Databases tab. From the drop-down list, I'm going to select Law and then click Search. I'm going to scroll down and I'm looking for LexisNexis Academic. Once you locate it, click on it. And it'll take you to the database. To look up a legal case, you're going to use this tab titled Look Up a Legal Case, Federal and State Cases. Clicking on this box gives you 3 search options. You can look up a case by citation. These are the parts. This is a volume number. This is the reporter the case was published in. And this is the first page the decision comes out at. You can also search by parties, so Mapp versus Ohio, for example, or by topic, like equal opportunity. I already know that I want to look up New York Times versus Sullivan, which is a case that established the malice standard, putting a high burden of proof on a plaintiff claiming defamation and libel of a published inaccuracy. After you type in your search terms, you click Go. It gave me 10 results, and on the left it lists cases in descending court jurisdiction hierarchical order. So Supreme Court, the lower court, Court of Appeals, and then I think this is the Alabama court and the Florida court. I know this case was decided on March 9th, 1964, so that is what I'm going to look at. I'm going to look at the list of results, and it'll tell you the name of the case, New York Times versus Sullivan, the court that decided the case, and these are all the recorders that the case was published in. And this is a date. I'm not sure what date it is yet, so I'm going to click on it. And these are all the citation information. I'm going to click on View Next Document, and it'll give you the whole thing. Now here I confirm that it was decided on March 9th, 1964. Now I'm going to go over the anatomy of a Supreme Court case. We'll start with the citation parts. This is called the case name, New York Times versus Sullivan. This is the court that tried the case and the jurisdiction, so Supreme Court of the United States. These are all the recorders or publications that the case came out in. I would look at the first one. This is actually the one from the Supreme Court. But okay, so if you're selecting the first one, it's the volume number, the recorder abbreviation, and the page that the decision is found on. And it'll also tell you when it was argued and when it was decided. Next, we find the prior history. The prior history tells you which court the case came from. The Supreme Court receives a writ of certiorari, or a petition to hear a case previously decided in a lower court. If they decide to hear a case, they request all the documents of that case from the lower court. It's like a doctor requesting your medical records from another doctor when you're getting a second opinion. If they hear a case, no new evidence is introduced. They just review the case and make a decision. Next, we find the disposition. The disposition refers to a court's final determination of a case or an issue. And 3 things can happen here. They can either affirm, which means to allow the lower court's ruling to stand, or secondly, they can reverse, void, or vacate the decision, overturning the lower court's ruling. And third, they can remand or send the case back to a lower court for a retrial. And in this case, we see that they not only reversed the lower court's decision, they remanded, which means sending the case back for a retrial. Further down, we find the case summary, and this is also called the syllabus, and we'll see summaries throughout this document. The procedural posture tells you how the previous court has ruled on a matter. The overview gives you a brief summary of the facts, legal issues, and what the court decided. The outcome gives you the Supreme Court's decision. The court terms are cataloging keywords or tags that are assigned to this case, and you can use these when you're doing a keyword search for other similar cases. Next, the LexisNexis head notes refer to points of law or rules of opinion made in this case, and they're listed, abbreviated, and by number, so HN1, and there's several in this case. Scrolling way down, we find the syllabus, which is the summary of the case. And then we find the counsel, the lawyers who argued the case, and the judges, the Supreme Court judges, and the judge who gave the opinion. And here we find the actual opinion, which articulates the court's official decision. Sometimes you will find a dissenting opinion, and it'll be included below too. The last thing we're going to look at is citation signals. These tell you what kind of treatment the court decision has received, and it's located here on the top left on this beige tab. And we can see from this page that the treatment can vary from negative treatment, cautionary treatment, positive treatment, neutral treatment, or no treatment. And in this case, it received a questioned analysis. And if you click on that, it'll give you more information. So here we see that it not only got cautionary treatment 7 times, positive over 700 times, neutral treatment a lot of times, and it gives you a few other head notes, or these are the subjects that are related to this case.